Okay, good morning all. Continuing with the unit number 6, that is templates. In today's session, we are going to learn about the class template. In the last session, we have seen the function template. In today's session, we are going to learn about the class template. Then we are going to explain this class template with simple example along with the code demonstration, so that you will understand how to declare the class template and how to make use of that class template. Then we are going to learn about the class template with multiple parameters. In the class template, we can give multiple parameters, as in case of function template we have seen multiple parameters. Same thing you can use with class template. Then at the end, points to remember, we should remember some points with respect to templates that we are going to understand, and followed by question answer session. So this is the outline of today's session. So first is class template. Class template can also be defined similar to function template. As we have defined the function template, similarly we can define the class template. When a class uses the concept of template, then the class is known as generic class. Keep in mind, whenever we use a class template, then it becomes a generic class. Then what is the syntax for class template? Template, and then in bracket you have to mention the class keyword and you have to mention the type. It is denoted by T type. And then you have to give the name to the class, and then name of the class. You can give any name to the class, as we have given the names to the classes. Similarly, you can give any name to the class over here. Then open the curly bracket, write down the body of the class, and then close the curly bracket. So this is the simple syntax of the class template. Again, I am repeating, you have to follow the template keyword, then in the brackets you have to mention class, then you have to mention the T type, and then you have to mention the class followed by name of the class. Open the curly bracket and close the curly bracket. Inside it you have to mention the logic of the class, whatever you want to present. Here it is. T type is a placeholder name which can be determined when the class is instantiated. You can define more than one generic data type using a comma separated list. The T type can be used inside the class body. This T type you can use inside the class body. We are going to learn this when we have a demonstration of the code. Now we can create an instance of the class. Let's see how to create the instance of the class. This is the name of the class. Then you have to mention the type, that is data type you have to mention over here, and then you have to give object name. You have to give the object. Give any name to the object. Where class name It is the name of the class. Here it is. This class name is nothing but the name of the class. Type is the type of the data that the class is operating on. It could be integer, float, character, or it could be anything. Then OB is the name of the object. It is the name of the object. You can give any name to the object. Now, let's see the example. Include the IOStream header file. Then using the namespace std. Then mention the class template in the program. How to mention the class template? You have to mention template, and in the brackets you have to mention the data. You can give any name over here, but we are using the T. You can give any name over here, which is the T type, that is template type. Followed by the class keyword and name of the class, that is A. In our case, name, open the curly bracket. In the public, mention the variables T num1. It indicates the type of the data of num1. As we have declared integer num1, integer num2. Similarly, this is the type T and this num1 is of type T. And it is initialized to 5. It is initialized to 5. Then is equal to 6. Is equal to 6. Similarly, we have initialized this num2 to the value 6. Then we have method add. Inside this method, we have written addition of num1 and num2 is num1 plus num2. You can print the addition over here in the add method. Close the method, close the class. So here it is. We have a class template A. Inside this class template, we have class A, and in the public two variables of type T, num1 and num2 initialized to 5 and 6 respectively. In the add, we have just printed the addition of these two numbers. We have printed the addition of two numbers, that is num1 and num2. Then in the main, let's see how we have written the. Open the curly bracket, and this is the name of the class, that is A. And in the bracket, you have to mention the integer data type. Here it is in integer. You can mention, instead of integer, you can mention float, double, character, etc. Whatever type of data you want to play with, you can mention that data type over here. So here it is in this example. I have used integer D, and D is nothing but the object, integer D. So this is the way to create the object of template class. This is the way to create the object of template class. So D dot add, we can call this add method using this object. Whenever we call this add method, we are going to execute this code. there is only one statement which will do the addition of two numbers, num1 and num2. Then at the end return 0 and close the curly bracket. Here it is the end of the main. Now anyone can tell me what will be the output of this code. Just unmute yourself and tell me the output of the code.
Addition of num1 and num2, 11.
Yes, this is the correct answer. It will show the output as addition of num1 and num2 is 11. Because this num1 and num2 consider the values 5 and 6, and here it is we have the value integer, so it will print the addition 5 plus 6, that is 11. In this above example, we have created a template for class A. We have created the template. Here it is for class A. Inside the main method, we have created the instance of the class A named as D. Here it is, we have created the instance of the template class A as D. Now with the help of this D object, we can call the methods present in the class. So this is how class template is created, and this is how you have to create the object and you have to call the methods. So let's begin with the code demonstration. Here it is. The code is already I have written over here. So first line, include the header file iostream. In the second, use the namespace std. And here, this is the way to create the template class. You have to use the template keyword and class T. Class T. In this less than and greater than brackets, you have to mention class T. Then this is our class that we have defined class A. So this is the curly bracket. Inside this class, we have defined the public members num1 and num2 of type T. And here it is, we have initialized num1 to 5 and we have initialized num2 to 6. And inside the add method, we have used addition of num1 and num2 as a message to the user, and after this we have just done the addition of two numbers and we have printed it on the terminal. Num1 plus num2. Here it is no need to mention this std because we have already mentioned it in namespace. And in the main, we have created the object A. This is the name of the class. Then this is the data type, integer, and this is D. And D dot add, you have called the add method, and which will print the addition of two numbers. Just save the program, compile the program. There are 0 errors and 0 warnings. Now execute the program. Once you execute, you will get this output. Once you execute, you will get this output. Addition of num1 and num2 is 11. Addition of num1 and num2 is 11. Here it is. In this code, we have created a simple class template. We have initialized two variables, and in method we have done just addition of these two numbers. So this is the way to define the class template in C++, and you can play with any type of data with this class template. Now I'm going to continue. Next is class template with multiple parameters. Class template with multiple parameters. Now we have seen only one parameter. Here it is. In this we are going to have multiple parameters. Let's see how to define and how to use the multiple parameters in class template. We can use more than one generic data type in a class template, and each generic data type is separated by a comma. You can use more than one generic data type in this class template, and each generic data type is separated by a comma, as we have seen in the function template. See the syntax. This is the template keyword. In the less than greater than bracket, you have to mention the class, and this is your first type, T1, comma, class T2, comma, and so on. You can have multiple parameters, and these parameters are separated by comma. Keep in mind, they are separated by comma. Then mention the class keyword followed by the name of the class, and inside it you can have a body of the class, and you can end the class. So this is the syntax for having multiple parameters in class template. Let's see the example wherein we will have two generic data types, a class template which contains the two generic data type. Here it is, hash include iostream. We have used the name. Then template class T1 and class T2. Okay, we have two types, class T1 and class T2. Then class A, open the curly brackets and mention the variables of type T1 and type T2. Here it is, we have mentioned A is of type T1 and B is of type T2. In the public, we will have A T1x, comma T2y. So you can open the curly bracket. We have initialized x to A and y to B. So as we are familiar with, the main task of the constructor is to initialize the variables. In this constructor, we have initialized A and B to x and y values respectively. Display, we have just printed the values of A and B. Values of A and B are A, comma B. So this is the simple class template wherein we have two generic data types, T1 and T2. Let's see the main method. Inside the main, we have a curly bracket, and this is the way to have multiple or multi-value, multi-data types. A, integer, comma, float. This is your first type T1 and this is your second type T2. And then create the object of this class A, D. D is the object of class A. And then this 5, 6.5, these are the two values. 5 belongs to T1 and 6.5 belongs to T2. As you can see over here, we have created the object. Behind the scene, this constructor will get executed and this A and B variable will get initialized. Then we have called this display method using this object d.display. So once we call this display method, this is the simple code which will display only values of A and B are here, A comma B. Here it is, return 0, and at the end closing of main method. So as you can see in this code, the output of the code is what? Values of A and B are 5, 6.5. 5, 6.5. Let's see the code. We have already created this project class template demo 1, and inside the code is already written. So you have to use this hash include iostream header file. You have to use this std namespace, and this is the way to create the template with multiple data types, class T1 and class T2. So here it is, we have created the class A, and T1, T2, these are the two variables created of type T1 and T2. In the public, we have this constructor A, T1x, comma T2y. What is this T1 and T2? It is the data type. What is the data type of X? Is T1. What is the data type of Y? Is the T2. And then A is equal to X and Y is equal to, B is equal to Y. That is, in this constructor, we have done the initialization of variable A and B. Now, we have created the display method. Inside this display, we have just mentioned one statement. Value of A and B are A comma B. Value of A and B are A comma B. Inside the main, let's see, one value is of type integer and one value is of type float. This is the template. This is the template, class A template. A, integer comma integer, and in the D, 5, 6.5. 5, 6.5. And then in we have called this d.display. In this d.display, we have called the method display. Once we call this method, we are going to have execution of display method. In this display method, we are going to print the values of A and B. We are going to print the values of A and B. So first of all, compile the code. There will not be any error and get it execute. So this is the output of the code. Addition of, just a minute, it will show the previous one. I will just double click on this and then you can compile. Now this is the active project, class template demo. As I have compiled it, it shows 0 errors and 0 warnings and get it execute. So values of A and B are 5, 6.5. This is the output of the code. So this code demonstrates how to have multiple data type for the class template. Multiple data type for class template. So this is how you can create the class template, and you can create the class template with multiple data type. Now continuing to next slide, points to remember. Keep in mind as template. To implement the concept of generic programming. With the help of template, we can implement the concept of generic programming. A template allows us to create a family of classes or data types. This template allows us to create the family of classes or family of functions to handle different data types. Keep in mind when we are going to use the templates. If suppose you are playing, if you have a situation wherein you don't know the data type of the data, in that case you can create the class template or function template and you can pass any type of data to that function or class. This template will work on that particular type of the data. So in this situation, you have to use the class template and function template. So template classes and functions eliminate the code duplication of different data types and thus makes the development easier and faster. No need to write the same method or same class for the different types of data type. You can use the same class or function for different types of data types. So it will reduce the development time and it is easier as well as faster to the developer. Multiple parameters can be used in both class and function template. As we have learned in the last lecture and in this lecture, you can use the multiple parameters in class as well as in function. So template function can also be overloaded. We can also use non-type arguments such as built-in or derived type data type as a template argument.